In the early morning hours, July 6, 2022, an explosion was caught on a security camera. And just as quick and mysterious as they appeared, the Georgia Guidestones were damaged and then removed. Hello, I'm Brent, and this is Strange Embers. So tonight's episode is going to be about the Georgia Guidestones. Have you heard of these?
I have not. And this was in 2022. This looks like I should have heard of this.
2022 is when an explosion went off and destroyed part of the Guidestones. And when that happened, they came in and removed the others for safety reasons.
What are the Georgia Guidestones?
So in Elbert County, Georgia, in the United States, not Georgia the country.
What proximity is this? Near Atlanta? Is it more South Georgia?
It's by South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's way over to the east side, the northeast over there, probably close to. Do you know where Athens is at?
Yes.
So go over that
Top.
way.
Yeah. Okay. So the top east part of the state.
Mm-hmm. So in June 1979, a man approached the Albertan Granite Finishing Company on behalf of a small group of loyal Americans, quote unquote.
79.
1979.
Okay.
He went by a pseudonym of Robert C. Christian.
Robert C. Christian. That actually sort of sounds familiar.
So he went in with very specific instructions of what he wanted done. And he explained that these stones would function as a compass, a calendar, and a clock.
Interesting.
And should be capable of withstanding catastrophic events.
Oh, wow. So is this supposed to be one of the new 7 wonders of the world?
The Georgia Guidestones has also been known as the Stonehenge of the United States.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think
That's what some people has called it before. There's a lot of conspiracies that go along with this. And a lot of them will never know also. Because this is very, very mysterious. The guy that paid for everything, R.C. Christian, he comes in, he goes to a bank, deposits money into the bank to pay for the services up under this pseudonym. And he had very specific instructions with the people he dealt with. Nobody knows who he is. If they do know who he is, they haven't said.
For how to be built. Is this an open to the public type of...
Was.
Or was, because it's gone now.
It's gone now. Was. He came in, very specific instructions on what he wanted built. And people have speculated that the pseudonym that he's using, Robert C. Christian or R.C. Christian, was a pseudonym. There's, like I said, there's so many conspiracies of this. Some of the people think that it was something to do with Christianity and a Christian religion. So a lot of people think it has to do with Rosicrucians is another type of religion. Some people say religion. Some people, I think, say cult, whatever. We'll talk about that as well.
Okay.
There's several different things that go on with this that lead them to that, just like all conspiracy theories. There's always something that, that leads everything back, but they think that it has to do with, it was the leader of this was Christian.
The R.C. Christian guy?
Yeah, Christian Rosenquartz.
Oh, okay.
Something, I don't know how to say it. So the Rosicrucians, it was a worldwide community of people who believed that they had the secret wisdom passed down from ancient times. And it was symbolized by a rose cross.
A rose cross.
Their movement began in modern Europe in the 17th century. The movement's origins are described in 3 anonymously published books. And the books claim that Christian Rosenkreutz founded the group. People speculate that it's a fictional character. It's said, it's one of those.
Yeah, where'd it come from? What is it?
So that's where they say it comes from.
So was this group like originally founded in the, like, what year, or has it been around a while? Or?
The Rosicrucian teachings combine occultism with other religious beliefs, including Hermetic.
Hermetic?
Hermetic was a ancient occult tradition encompassing alchemy, astrology, and theology.
Oh, okay.
So the Rosicrucians' teachings combine occultism with other religious beliefs, including Hermetic, Jewish mysticism, and Christian Gnosticism.
So it has a lot to do with astrology and alchemy and mysticism and...
Right. Rosicrucians also believe that nature is the most beautiful expression of divine perfection.
Okay.
They also believe that humans are threefold spirits with a divine spirit, a life spirit, and a human spirit. That's a little bit of that. Not, we're not going too deep into that, but that's a little bit of what they are.
Okay.
Christian said that he wanted to build a granite monument that would rival the British monument Stonehenge.
Okay. So that's where it was
he
like
wanted it to be grand scale.
Magnificent.
Right. Which he drew the inspiration from after paying a visit to Stonehenge. Of what he wanted. However, he said that while it was impressive, Stonehenge had no message to communicate. And that's what he wanted to do. So Joe Findlay from the Elberton Granite believed that Christian was, quote unquote, a nut, and attempted to discourage him by providing a price quote for the commission to make this that was several times higher than any project which the company had previously undertaken before, explaining that the construction of the Guidestones would require additional tools and consultants. But to Findlay's surprise, Christian accepted the quote.
Wow.
So when arranging the payment for this, Christian claimed that he represented a group of people which had been planning to construct these Guidestones for 20 years, and they wanted to remain anonymous.
So this was in the 70s, so 20 years would have been...
This was in 79 when
he was
this started.
When it started. So 20 years before that, that's going to be like 59.
Right.
And if he was a part of the group then...
If he was a part of the group in 59, then that means, let's just say he was 20 years old.
Yeah, at least in his 20s.
Yeah, probably. So at this point in time, when he goes to see him, he is probably at least 40-ish.
Well, if he was in his... Well, yeah. So if you think of it as he was in his 20s when he was first involved in the group,
yeah,
he would be around in his 40s.
That'd have been then.
Yeah.
So then, if he's still alive today, that would put him in his 80s.
Late 80s, 90s, early 90s.
Yeah, somewhere right in that area. Yeah, at least mid 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christian also said that he chose Elbert County because of its abundance of local granite. So Elbert County, that's what they do there. That is one of the things that they're known for.
Oh, the granite.
Yeah. And the rural nature of the landscape there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it
has a mild climate, and it has family ties to the region as well. So, small community.
Yeah.
So, the total cost of this project was never revealed.
That's what my next question. I was wondering how much this actually cost. If it was about 3 times higher than normal.
But it is said that it was over $100,000 then, which would be equivalent to over $400,000 now.
Today, yeah.
So Christian delivered a scale model of the Guidestones and 10 pages of specifications of the way they needed to be built.
Wow.
The 5-acre plot of land that the Guidestones was on,
sat on,
was a site that was purchased by Christian from a local farm owner also.
Farmer, yeah.
And so my guess is probably went up, paid in cash.
Oh, I'm sure. And back then it was probably maybe a few thousand.
Maybe. The owner and his children were given lifetime cattle grazing rights on the Guidestone site. The monument was located off of Georgia State Route 77 around 7 miles north of the city of Alberton.
Okay.
So the farmer, is a good deal for him, is going to be,
Oh, yeah.
he's selling the land, but he can still let his cattle go there too. On March the 22nd of 1980, the monument was unveiled by Congressman Doug Bernard before an audience of between 200 to 300 people. At the unveiling, the master of ceremonies read a message to the gathered audience. In order to avoid debate, we, the sponsors of the Georgia Guidestones, have a simple message for human beings, now and for the future. We believe our precepts are sound and they must stand on their own merits. And that was wrote by the purported state of Georgia Guidestones sponsors.
So I wonder, was it like a local park type thing?
It was.
Okay.
Christian later transferred ownership of the land and the Guidestones to Elbert County.
So it was...
In 1981, barbed wire fencing was erected around the monument to keep the cattle out, as they had been using it for a scratching post. A man who identified himself as Robert Christian published a book titled Common Sense Renewed in 1986, which described the ideology of the Guidestones. And the author wrote, I am the originator of the Georgia Guidestones and the sole author of its inscriptions. I have had the assistance of a number of other American citizens in bringing the monument into being. We have no mysterious purposes or ulterior motives. We seek common sense pathways into a peaceful world, without bias for particular creeds or philosophies. Robert Christensen, 1986. So Finley believed that the monument would become a regional tourist attraction.
Yeah.
And in 2022, 20,000 annual visitors were reported going there.
20,000?
Yep.
Wow. It looks like this would be more well known.
I've known about it for years.
Oh, really?
I remember when this explosion happened. I remember seeing that on TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See,
I remember what it was on national news. It was a pretty big deal.
Oh, wow. Where was I at in 2022?
Not about the Georgia Guidestones.
Not by the Georgia Guidestones.
Dark Clouds over Alberton. The true story of the Georgia Guidestones in 2015. There was a documentary film purposing to expose the true identity of Robert Christians.
Oh.
The makers of the documentary claimed to have investigated and interviewed a banker who was involved in the financial agreements for the construction of the monument.
So were ever, even on his book, no pictures or anything recognizable were ever posted?
No, not that I've seen.
So he was very anonymous.
And this banker, I've looked for this interview. I'm going to look some more and see if I can find it. But I've looked for this interview with this banker.
Can't find it.
I can't find it. But they said that even in this, the things I have looked up, it said that the banker never gave any information.
Oh.
Besides.
Yeah, what he...
Robert Christian.
It was this, yeah.
The Georgia Guidestones Monument was controversial even before it was ever unveiled. Some of the locals referred to its construction as being, quote unquote, the devil's work.
The devil's work.
Yeah,
That
it is in the South. It
Yes.
is in the South.
That's what I was going to say.
A local minister warned that, quote unquote, occult groups would visit the site and that a sacrifice was imminent.
Perform
Imminent.
their satanic rituals. And this was in the 80s too, because it was...
That's the hype. The 80s was the hype of the satanic panic.
Yes. So I know it was probably just...
Oh, this going up with the
Over-
satanic panic?
over
Oh,
the
you know
top.
it was in Georgia? Oh, yeah. You know this was popping off over there.
Oh, yeah.
In 2009, an article in Wired was noted that sandblaster Charlie Clamp spent hundreds of hours on the etchings on the stone. during which time he was, quote, consistently distracted by strange music and disjointed voices, end quote.
Weird.
So tell me,
Yes.
where in the world you're sandblasting riding onto a piece of granite has anything in the world to do with hearing a bunch of voices? I mean, even if you want to go into this whole entire thing, it was a piece of granite.
Yeah.
And he was told, write this down on
Write
it.
this on it. Was he sandblasting it out in the field when it was
don't know.
already erected?
Maybe he was the one doing the sacrifice that was imminent.
Yes.
And that's
The sacrificing, was he sandblasting in his shop?
I do not even
And
know.
who knows what was going on in there, but yeah.
So in 2008, the stones were defaced with aerosol paint. Mm-hmm. It was graffitied with slogans such as, quote, death to the New World Order, end quote. Wired magazine called the defacement, quote, the first serious act of vandalism in the Guidestones history, end quote.
Well, it had only, when was this? What
That was
year?
in 2008.
Oh, in 2008? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So September the 14th, an employee of the Elbert County Maintenance Department contacted the Federal Bureau of Investigation when the stones were vandalized with graffiti, including the phrase, quote, I am Isis, goddess of love, end quote.
Oh, Lord.
After the acts of vandalism, security cameras were installed at the site.
Mm-hmm.
Candace Taylor, a candidate in the 2022 Georgia Republican primary, called the Guidestones, quote unquote, can you guess?
Evil, satanic.
Satanic. You got it. In a campaign ad, her campaign platform called for the monument to be removed. Well, we just talked about they had security cameras put up after the graffiti got there. So since there's security cameras put up,
No more graffiti. No more sacrificing.
the blast was caught on film.
Oh, the blast was caught on film.
Yeah.
Because that was in 2008 was when the graffiti occurred. So cameras probably at least by 2009.
Yep. So the blast was caught on film.
Do they know who blasted it or what caused the blast?
I'm just going to play it for you right now, and then
Yeah.
we'll get back to it in a second.
Oh, wow. Well, it's not magnificent like Stonehenge.
You'll see. I'll get to the dimensions in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Here's the blast.
Wow. But they didn't catch anyone planting dynamite?
So when this blast happened, so the footage just played was the blast, and if you look at the security camera, I think it was that was at 4:03 a.m.
But they did not catch anyone planting explosives?
So on January 6th at 4:03 a.m. of 2022, an explosive device was detonated at the site, destroying the Swahili Hindi language slab. I'll get to what's on this.
On the slabs?
Yep, in just a minute. Destroyed that slab that had that language on it, causing significant damage to the capstone. Nearby residents reported heard and felt the explosions at around 4 a.m. CCTV footage recorded a vehicle leaving the scene, and police investigated the incident. The remaining stones were dismantled by authorities for safety reasons later that day.
Oh.
The Elbert County Sheriff's Office investigated the bombing with the assistance of GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. On the evening of the bombing, the GBI released the video showing both the explosion and a vehicle of interest leaving the scene shortly before. No motive has been publicly shared and no suspects publicly identified. On July the 14th of 2022, and again on July 25th of 2022, the GBI gave an update with no significant progress in the case being made since the bombing.
Wow.
Prosecutors suggested that as the Guidestones were maintained by the county, that they were considered a public building. Therefore, their destruction would carry a minimum sentence of 20 years in prison if they're caught.
So it was still like
It's a government
a
building.
government, yeah.
Yeah, that's a terrorist attack on a government
attack.
building. So in late July 2022, the Albertan mayor, Daniel Graves, said that the town planned to rebuild the monument exactly as it was, adding, quote, "We're just getting geared up and excited about rebuilding them. It's going to happen. It may take us 6 months to a year to do it, but we're going to do it," end quote.
Wow. And that statement was made in 2022?
That was July of 2022.
Have they been rebuilt or any progress made to the Guidestones?
On August the 8th of 2022, the Albertan City Council voted to begin legal proceedings to return the 5 acres of land that the monument had been erected on to its previous owner, a local farm.
Oh, the farmer, not the...
The City Council announced that the remains of the monument, which had been moved to a third-party location for safety reasons, would be given to the Albertan Granite Association. Both the Albertan Granite Association and the Albertan City Council expressed doubt that the Guidestones would be rebuilt, but expressed hope that one day it could happen.
Were any inquiries from R.C. Christian made to the Georgia county seats regarding the Guidestones?
You know, not that I know of. I saw in here that Christian wrote, I think, 2 books. But
Then disappeared
that's
off the
it.
face
Like,
of the
after
world.
he left, he signed all that stuff over to the county.
And he's hands off. I'm gone.
He's done.
That's weird.
He did everything that he wanted to do. The Guidestones were up. It was paid for, and it was up.
Yeah.
It's done.
That's just crazy, though.
Well, not only that is how much. Who does that have to be? How much money do you have in? That's equivalent to nowadays would be somebody coming up with $400,000 to have this built, sign it over, and walk away.
Exactly.
So even if it's a group of people, I mean,
Even if they're contributing, I meant,
yeah,
I mean, they could be 50,000 apiece and contributing, or less than that. But still, that's just odd.
yeah, just to have this message. Which let's get into that. So that's what we just went over is the story of how the Guidestones got there, their destruction. They've been demolished.
Yep.
And they were taken down. Now, there are also, we're going to get to the inscriptions first. So the message, consisting of a set of 10 guidelines or principles, were engraved into the Georgia Guidestones.
So there were 10 stones?
No, 10
10
guides, 10 principles.
Okay. How many Guidestones were there?
It was three stones with a top cap. Yeah,
okay.
Whatever you call it, whatever it's called. So these 10 principles were engraved into the Georgia Guidestones in 8 different languages. So I'm sorry, I said 3 stones, no, it's 4.
Oh,
4 stones. Yeah, 4 stones in the shape of a
box.
Star.
Star? How'd they make a star with 4 stones?
A T.
Okay. So it's like a pillar with a cap and then 2 large tablets.
Yes.
Okay.
No, 4 large tablets.
4 large tablets. Okay.
Yeah. Had 8 different languages. 1 language on each face of the 4 large upright stones. Moving clockwise around the structure from due north, the languages were English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian.
Okay.
These languages were chosen because they represented most of humanity, except for Hebrew, which was chosen because of its connections to Judaism and Christianity.
Okay.
According to the monument sponsors, the inscriptions were meant to guide humanity to conserve nature after a nuclear war, which the creators thought was an imminent threat. The inscriptions dealt with 4 main themes: governance and the establishment of a world government, population, reproduction control, and the environment.
Probably more emphasis on the environment aspects.
We're going to go through them.
Okay.
And humankind's relationship to nature and spirituality.
Okay.
The inscriptions were, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. That's one. Second one, guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity.
Mm-hmm.
3, unite humanity with a living new language.
So take all of them and come into one consensus, like consensus or one language throughout the world.
Yep. 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason.
Okay.
5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts.
Mm-hmm.
6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court.
Okay.
7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. 8, balance personal rights with social duties. 9, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite.
Okay.
And 10, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature.
Yeah.
And it's in all those languages. So a few feet to the west of the monument, an additional granite ledger had been set level with the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And this tablet identified the structure and the languages used, and it was listed various facts about the size, the weight, the astronomical features of the stones, the date they were installed, the sponsors of the project. It referred to a time capsule being buried up under the tablet, but there were blank spaces on the stone intended for filling in dates for this time capsule, but they were both blank.
So I wonder if the time capsule was already instilled into the structure. I wonder if someone was trying to blow it up to get to the time capsule.
I think that's one of the conspiracies. If I remember right, I've heard something about that before, like a long time ago. So it was uncertain if the time capsule was actually ever put into place because of those being blank.
Yeah.
During the removal of the monument in July of 2022, the council officials dug 6 feet down beneath the tablet as they were removing it to find this time capsule, and they found nothing.
They found nothing. Oh.
The text of the explanatory tablet was somewhat inconsistent with punctuation, and they misspelled the word pseudonym also. The original spelling, punctuation, and line breaks in the text have been preserved in the transcription. So at the top, at the center of the tablet, it said the Georgia Guidestones, center cluster erected March 22nd, 1980. Immediately below that, and if anybody's watching the screen, I'm going to have a picture of this tablet on the screen also. Immediately below this was the outline of a square, inside which was written, "Let these Guidestones be an age of reason." Around the edges of the square were written translations to 4 ancient languages, one per edge. Starting from the top and proceeding clockwise, there were Babylon, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Ancient Egyptian. And that was in hieroglyphics. On the left side of the tablet was a column of text. Metric conversion was added also. It said it was the astronomic features. Number 1, the channel through stone indicates celestial pole. Number 2, horizontal slot indicates annual travel of sun. Number 3, sunbeam through capstone marks noontime throughout the year.
So it was a sundial as well.
Well, yes, but this whole entire thing was lined up with true north. It was lined up for the solstices.
Yeah.
It was just like Stonehenge is the same way. Stonehenge is lined up for everything. And then it said author R.C. Christian, a pseudonym, obviously. Sponsors, a small group of Americans who seek the age of reason. Time capsule, placed 6 feet, 1.83 meters below the spot. On, no date.
No date.
And to be opened on,
No date.
no date. The words appeared as shown up under the capsule, reading, and no dates were engraved. Physical data. On the right side of the tablet was a column of text, metric included on it, was physical data. Number 1, overall height was 19 feet 3 inches, which is 5.87 meters. Number 2, total weight, 237,746 pounds,
Wow.
which is 107,840 kilograms. Number 3, 4 major stones are 16 feet 4 inches, that's 4.98 meters high, each weighing an average of 42,437 pounds, which is 19,249 kilograms. Number 4, center stone is 16 feet 4 inches high, which is 4.98 meters, weighs 20,957 pounds, which is 9,506 kilograms. Capstone is 9 feet 8 inches long, which is 2.95 meters, 6 feet 6 inches wide, which is 1.98 meters, 1 foot 7 inches thick, which is 0.48 meters, and weighs 24,832 pounds, which is 11,264 kilograms.
Yeah, it's a...
The support stones, the bases, 7 feet 4 inches long, 2.24 meters, 2 feet wide, that's 0.61 meters, 1 foot 4 inches thick, which is 0.41 meters, each weighing an average of 4,875 pounds, which is 2,211 kilograms. The support stone, the base, 4 feet 2.5 inches long, which is 1.28 meters, 2 feet 2 inches wide, which is 0.66 meters, 1 foot 7 inches thick, 0.48 meters, weighs 2,707 pounds, which is 1,228 kilograms. Number 8, 951 cubic feet of granite, which is 26.9 meters cubed. Number 9, granite quarried from pyramid quarries located 3 miles, that's roughly 5 kilometers, west of Elberton, Georgia. Below the 2 columns of text were written in the caption, Guidestone languages, with the diagram of the granite slab layout beneath it. So the astronomical features. The 4 outer stones were oriented to mark the limits of the 18.6 year lunar cycle.
Conference.
The center column featured a hole drilled at an angle from one side to the other, through which the North Star could be seen. The same pillar had a slot carved through it, which was aligned with the sun's solstices and equinox. The aperture in the capstone allowed for a ray of sun to pass through at noon each day, so it would shine a beam on the center stone indicating the day of the year. University of Georgia astronomer Loris Magni referred to these features as mediocre at best and sees them as an abacus compared to Stonehenge's computer.
Okay. So it's suboptimal than Stonehenge.
That's what they said, yes. So now let's get into the conspiracy part of this thing.
The meat of it.
Yes. So that's I know that's a whole lot to talk about to get all the information of this thing out there. But so when it comes to conspiracies, obviously, like we said before, there was the whole satanic panic thing at the time.
Yeah.
So that one was a huge one right out of the gate. So whenever Christian was commissioning the Guidestones and described a guide for the future generations to manage and limit resources, potentially in the face of a nuclear war, Oko Yono said that the inscribed messages were a, quote, a stirring call to rational thinking, end quote. However, the Guidestones inscriptions have also been accused of promoting eugenics and genocide, which a lot of people had a big, huge conspiracies coming out of the whole 500 million population. Yeah. The whole entire thing about, which one was this? The second one? Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Right-wing activist Mark Dice demanded that the Guidestones should be, quote, be smashed into 1 million pieces, and then the rubble should be used for construction project, end quote. Claiming that the Guidestones were of a deep satanic origin, and that R.C. Christian belonged to a Luciferian secret society.
Okay.
Related to the New World Order.
Is there anything else on the New World Order? Did you look anything up on it?
That same thing with this. No, on this, no. I mean, you go into the New World Order and start looking that up. It just depends on how deep you want to go into the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those. Which bottle do you want to drink? Do you want to become big or do you want to become small?
Exactly.
The whole New World Order. As soon as you go into that rabbit hole, you go into that, and you go straight into that with Illuminati. With what's the other one? They evolved from the Templars. Freemasons. Yep, you go into that, you go into the Illuminati, you go into Freemasons, you go into, and that's what a bunch of the conspiracy theories have to do with Illuminati. They have to do with Freemasonry and all that. Yeah, Freemasons have a lot of symbolic things that they do.
Yeah.
Then when you go into this, it got real occulty. Also because of the whole astrological part of this.
Yeah.
Astrological stuff is getting to be where it's
always
more talked about now, and it's more people are more open to things now than especially in the 80s.
Oh yeah, before
this in the 80s,
anything astrological was.
Oh, I'm surprised they didn't have a freaking bonfire burning people at the stake right there beside this thing.
No.
So at the unveiling of the monument, a local minister proclaimed that he believed that the monument was for, quote, for sun worshippers, for occult worship, and for devil worship, end quote.
It's kind of funny in a way. For sun worshippers, most of the time, if you think about the occult and the darkness, they're like, stay away from the sun. Stay out of they're all like darkness. And
it just depends on which ones you look at. Because, I mean, when you go into when I hear sun worshippers, I think of the people that's more of like the astrological, the
tarot cards and
not necessarily tarot cards, but like when they say the sun worshippers and the cult worship and devil worship, that's different things.
That's two different things.
That's total different things. But this whole satanic panic, though, back then when this was out, that was huge. That was the whole entire. They can throw those words out there, and there's.
Would have consumed everyone that was not of the norm.
Oh yeah, I mean when they start saying that, those harlots better be covering up their ankles, and they're going to be burned. It was anything to scare everybody off and scare them to the church.
Yeah,
because that was, even back then. God, that was big money.
Oh yeah, churches were big money back then.
Yeah, I mean some of them still are now, but even back then that was big money.
Yeah,
conspiracy theorist Jay Winder has said that the pseudonym of the man who commissioned the stones, R.C. Christian, resembles Rosecross Christian or Christian Rosenkreutz, the founder of the Rosicrucian order. Others who agree with Winder's point to the Rosicrucian first manifesto written in 1614, which states, quote, the word R.C. should be their seal, mark, and character, end quote. So they say the similarities of that also with his name that came in there with the R.C. Christian, they even said in their manifesto back then that should be the mark of them.
Oh, of them.
Yeah. That's the long short of the Georgia Guidestones. There's not a lot that you can really dig into past that because
they're gone.
Nobody knows.
No one talks about it anymore.
No, nobody knows anything about who this guy was. I can't believe that in the time of when he was there,
yeah,
people had to know. I mean, I guess he was already gone though, Because I was going to say, people knew that it was being built. People knew that it was going to get erected. You know, just like the priests had to be there when it was being
unveiled. But he was
Yes.
probably paid for it, gave the specs, out of there.
That was 79. It went up in 80.
Yeah.
So probably nobody. But how? I can't believe that anybody that he associated with, they all kept their mouth quiet.
Yeah.
So how much? Not only did he buy the land, he paid for the project. You know, he paid them off.
Probably.
And it had to come with probably with some kind of threat also, because at some point in time, I mean, even if you think of it like that, you're getting at the time right now where the people that are involved with that, of when it was designed and the things that happened, some of those people, if they're still, you know, someone's probably dead by now, but someone's still alive probably. And
Yeah, if they're still
they're
around.
getting older.
Oh, yeah. Or if they still have descendants that
Yeah.
are still involved, they may still be around, but who knows?
Did the banker tell anybody of his family of who this person was? Did he actually even know?
He probably didn't know.
Yeah.
If he was using an alias, he probably had no idea.
I can't believe you never heard of this.
No,
Yeah, this was, I remember them being over there. I remember wanting to go see them, and then it got destroyed.
Yeah.
There's tons of conspiracies to go along with it.
Yeah. That was interesting, though, but yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, the other thing that the Christians were all Bible thumping about was it was the what did they say? It was the 10 Commandments for the devil.
Oh,
Or something.
they
That's
said
what
that
were
was
saying.
the 10 Commandments for the
Yeah,
devil.
or the 10 Commandments of the Antichrist.
Antichrist.
Yeah, that's what they was calling it. The 10 Commandments of the Antichrist.
Yeah.
So, anything you want to add?
I'm sure that's a mystery to me, but yeah, that was very interesting. Did not realize it even existed.
The one other thing I want to add to this is when I think about the Georgia Guidestones, it also puts in my mind the Dark Pyramid.
The Dark Pyramid.
Yeah. You know about the Dark Pyramid?
Apparently no.
It's
Apparently I've been living under a rock lately.
Yeah. I'll call you Patrick.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Oh, for SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. Yeah. The Dark Pyramid, that's a whole, I'm not going to get too much into it. It's a whole thing on its own, but it's has to do with aliens.
Oh.
It's supposed to be this huge solid black pyramid that's like 100 feet below the ground, that's somewhere below some ice or something up in the Arctic Circle area or something like that. I don't remember, but that's the gist of it.
Okay. Huh. Interesting.
Anything you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I think you covered it well.
Hello, everybody. If you're here, if you listened, hope you enjoyed it. 3 comments in here. What do you think about the Georgia Guidestones? Did you go see the Guidestones? Anybody actually get to go see these things before they were dismantled? Well, everybody, and until next time.
Good evening.